April is Autism Acceptance Month, and this encore episode of the Special Chronicles podcast honors the voices, stories, and lived experiences that continue to deepen our understanding of autism. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski, and today we'll be visiting a lively, thoughtful, and wonderfully human conversation with filmmaker Alex Lehmann, director of the documentary Aspergers Are Us. This episode takes you behind the scenes of a film that follows four comedians on the autism spectrum and their comedy troupe of the same name. Alex shares how the project began, how he first met the troupe, and what drew him into their world. He talks about his own prior knowledge of autism, what he learned throughout the filmmaking process, and how the group's humor, honesty, and friendship shaped the story he ultimately captured on screen. You'll hear Alex reflect on how the documentary came to life, what surprised him most about working with the troupe, the joys and challenges of directing a film centered on autistic voices, behind-the-scenes moments that didn't make the final cut, the troupe's hopes, fears, and reactions to being featured in the film, what he wants viewers to take away from the story, how you can watch the documentary and follow the team online. This encore episode is a celebration of creativity, authenticity, and the power of storytelling to shift perspectives. Whether you're familiar with the film or discovering it for the first time, this conversation offers a warm, humorous, and insightful look at autism through the lens of art and friendship. Listeners, you can find the full show notes, follow Special Chronicles on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and listen to more episodes on demand at specialchronicles.com/pod. That's specialchronicles.com/pod. And you can sign up for our newsletter to stay updated on new episodes. And if you enjoyed this episode, access our full autism collection at specialchronicles.com/autism. That's specialchronicles.com/autism. And now on to a special encore episode of the Special Chronicles podcast with filmmaker Alex Lehmann, director of the documentary Aspergers Are Us. Hey, Special Chronicles friends, this is Daniel Smrokowski, founder and host of Special Chronicles, coming to you before the start of our program today to ask you to join our Winter UN Giving Campaign 2016 to help us cover our costs of producing these podcasts. Your tax-deductible donation can help us bring you new podcasts each week that will inspire and uplift you. We thank you in advance for your generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. You can give your gift today at specialchronicles.com/given. That's specialchronicles.com/given. And now let's hear from one listener, Darren, who talks about the impact Special Chronicles brings to our community.
Special Chronicles is a wonderful platform for people with special attributes to share their amazing stories. It is inspiring and uplifting for me to hear from people from all around the nation about their great accomplishments. Keep doing what you're doing. Continue to give this wonderful community a place to share their successes and voice what is important to them.
My name is Alex Lehmann, and I am from Aspergers Are Us, and I'm from Los Angeles, and you are listening to Special Chronicles podcast, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
This episode 203 is brought to you by listeners like you. Please go to specialchronicles.com/given. That's specialchronicles.com/given, and help us today in our Winter UN Giving Campaign 2016. And we thank you for your generous support. This week on Special Chronicles, we sit down with filmmaker Alex Lehmann, the director of the new Aspergers Are Us documentary. Is all coming up next right here on the Special Chronicles podcast show on specialchronicles.com.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
You're listening to the Special Chronicles podcast. This is a show where we're podcasting disability or diff-ability stories from an insider's perspective. We're giving a voice to people with special needs. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Special Chronicles podcast show. My name is Daniel, and I am your host and founder of Special Chronicles. And sorry about that, I am experiencing lots of technical difficulties today. Because today, when I opened up the Soundbite application on my computer here, while I'm recording in studio, all the audio clips were missing. They're not showing up on the little. So there's all these audio clips that I can click and all that funness here, but it just didn't show up. And on top of that, this weird little I don't know what you call it, but there's a button on top of that button. There's it's all this audio stuff. Hey, if anybody wants to help us, specialchronicles.com/giving, and maybe you can help us overcome some of these technical difficulties. But I don't want to talk about any of that giving campaign stuff right now, because that's what you heard at the top of the show, and that's about it, because we want to get to kick off the program today. As I had a chance to a few weeks ago, I had a chance to screen the newly released Aspergers Are Us documentary that is now available on Netflix. Let me check it's now available on Netflix, iTunes, Amazon VOD, and DVD. I think I got all those correct. So Alex, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But we'll put all those links in the show notes on specialchronicles.com for episode 203. But before we kick off our awesome behind-the-scenes conversation, and this truly is a behind-the-scenes conversation with filmmaker Alex Lehmann, who directed this documentary, Aspergers Are Us, which is based on the first comedy troupe composed of 4 individuals who are on the autism spectrum. And this is you already get a behind the scenes look. If you have already seen this film, then it's been about a month since it has been released on iTunes and Amazon VOD, and it's only been about, I think, a week or so that it's been released on DVD and on Netflix. So if you have not had a chance to go see it, please go see it. And so we're going to go ahead and play the audio of the trailer, and then we'll get started with our interview. Conversation behind the scenes, because it truly is Alex will share in a conversation. If you watch the video edition, I did kind of forget to press record on the video until about a minute or two into the recording. So if you listen to this audio program right now, then that's the one that you're going to want to, because that's the one that you get the full behind the scenes perspective, and Alex shares with us a lot of behind the scenes stories of filming and producing this documentary, Aspergers Are Us. So exciting that I had a chance to sit down with Alex and talk about his film, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. But first, let's take a listen to the audio of the trailer for Aspergers Are Us documentary. So you think autism is nothing to joke about?
It's always fun, because whenever someone asks, I run away in fear.
We're Aspergers Are Us. It's true, we're the first comedy troupe composed of people on the autism spectrum.
So if we're not funny, blame it on Ethan's disability. You should come to what might be our last ever show.
We'll be able to do material that we've worked on but haven't performed yet, and also it'll be really, really silly. We want to sell out Earth.
This is definitely the most challenging show we've had.
We want aliens to come to the show and be turned away because it's full.
There's parts that are screwed up, there's parts the audience doesn't get.
But we're realistic, so if the aliens get in, that's okay too.
It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be...
Start thinking this way.
I was born this way. I've been more stressed than I have been in the past.
We're hypersensitive because something's irritating us from the inside.
I'm saying that I feel upset.
All of this stuff that's hard, that's difficult for us, this is what we get for starting Aspergers Are Us.
I asked. I'm not talking about you. I want you guys to leave. I just want it to be done now.
It's a lonely, lonely world.
This is my diagnosis, the actual time I got diagnosed on the autism spectrum, and I skipped home because I felt freer than I ever had. It explained everything that had ever happened to me that didn't make sense.
When you have Asperger's, you can do things that are really, really great. Not in spite of having autism, but through it.
Doing really good, dude. I'm really happy that we're in this troupe together. And the rabbi interrupts him and says, sorry to cut you off.
These guys are my best friends. I don't really have anything bad to say.
This gazebo has the stupidest sign, because what else are you gonna do in a gazebo? I'm a rebel without a cause, baby.
Aspergers Are Us was directed by Alex Lehmann, and it's now available. It's been available for a month now on iTunes, and you can get the DVD on Amazon, and you can also watch it on Amazon VOD or on Netflix. So go and check it out. And now I bring you our behind-the-scenes conversation with director Alex Lehmann right here on the Special Chronicles podcast show on specialchronicles.com. We'll be back. Keep listening to the Special Chronicles podcast show on specialchronicles.com with our conversation with Alex Lehmann, director of Aspergers Are Us documentary. Joining us today on the Special Chronicles podcast show is Alex Lehmann, the director of the Aspergers Are Us documentary. This film is about the first comedy troupe composed of individuals who are on the Asperger's spectrum, and was released on iTunes this week on November 15th, 2016. Welcome to Special Chronicles, Alex.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's nice to be here.
So I first,
whose dialing has been, I like to follow.
You like to follow Chris?
Yes.
yeah. Well, speaking of Chris, I discovered your film, I want to say a couple years ago, after I had Chris on to talk about his movie Where Hope Grows. I discovered that you guys were in the process of filming this film, Aspergers Are Us, and at the time, I don't think you guys could talk that much about the film.
Correct. Yeah, we were still in we still had it under wraps at the time.
Yeah. Quick behind the scenes note here. I realized I forgot to press record on the video. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start recording the video now. People watching the video, just listen to the audio podcast to get the focus. I don't want to have to go back in time.
Yeah. Plus, it's not like I was picking my nose up until now anyways. So.
No. No one's going to know. No one's going to know. Okay. Don't you hate that when that happens when you forget to turn the camera on? I'm sure you didn't have any of that when you were filming Aspergers Are Us. It
happens to the best of us, my friend.
Yeah. So let's have you begin by introducing yourself to our listeners.
I'm a cinematographer by trade, and I've been, I was a cinematographer on Where Hope Grows. I've been, making a lot of films in Hollywood for a while, and more recently I was trying to make my own documentary or my own movie. I didn't know what it was going to be exactly, and so I came across a story about these guys, the Aspergers Are Us troupe, and so I said, hey, I don't want to just be a cinematographer anymore. I want to be a film director.
Yeah. This
is the story I want to tell. So I started making a documentary about those guys.
Neat. So, how did this film project of Aspergers Are Us get started? Can you show us a little bit about that backstory of how this all got started and when it got started? Because so now, we're recording this on November 19th, but you just released it on iTunes and on Amazon Video on Demand, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, it's on iTunes and Amazon VOD.
And that's this June 2016. So can you kind of take us back to that backstory of how this all began and when it began?
Yes. Let's go back in time 3.5 years to the wonderful summer of 2013. And so I had come across that article about the guys. It was like a USA Today article.
Yeah.
And so to make that documentary about them, so I found them on Facebook, because nowadays you're lucky. You don't have to just get on a plane and hunt people down. You can just Facebook friend them.
Yeah.
And so I messaged the guys and I asked, hey, is there any chance you'd let this person you've never met me, you have no reason to trust me, but I would like to come out and make a documentary about you guys. And at first they were a little hesitant, and then eventually they said, you know what, yeah, okay, we trust you, we think we trust you. We're going to be making one more show. We're doing one show this summer. It might be our last show ever, so you probably want to get out here and start filming.
Yeah.
We start rehearsing in a week. And so I got on a plane, and I went out and I was supposed to meet the troupe outside of the mall.
Yeah.
And they weren't there.
In Boston?
In Boston. Yep. So I flew from LA to Boston, and yeah, it was like, these guys, they're not here, and they're not answering their phone. And I just flew across country with equipment and bags and stuff. I just bought my own ticket.
Yeah.
And I think that they might have pranked me. I think I just got had by this comedy troupe. Maybe this is their sense of humor. Which was really a little disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, my heart started sinking, and I was like calling them and just looking around. And then minutes later, I don't know, something like that, they finally got in touch with me, and were able to finally meet up.
Yeah.
And that's so I started filming them right then and there, and they're immediately they're looking for somewhere to get to rehearse, and they get kicked out of the mall, and they get kicked out, kicked off of the street, and that's in a documentary.
I believe I just watched it half hour ago before we got on this call, and yeah, you see that in the first 10-15 minutes of the film.
Yeah, that was when I literally had just met the troupe. That was the first day filming, all the way to them, going out on the bridge and coming up with this superhero palace idea. But that was my first day with them. I was like, what is this gonna be? These guys don't have a place to rehearse, and they don't know what they're like. I don't know. We're gonna get kicked out of places. That's what this is gonna be. So that was how it all started.
Neat. I'm jumping ahead of questions before, but first, you kind of answered this already, but how you met these 4 individuals who are part of Aspergers Are Us? Did you just meet them through Facebook? Hopefully not in a creepy way, but kind of.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I'd seen that article about them, and so I reached out on Facebook and said, "You've got nothing to trust but my word, but I'm here to tell a story about you guys. And I'm not, this is not a pity piece, or it's not a puff piece. I'm trying to, I want to get to know you guys for who you are, and for better or for worse. Let's do all of it. I want to tell that story." And so, yeah.
So, did you, prior to producing this film, Aspergers Are Us, did you know anything about autism and Asperger's spectrum prior to directing this film? My sister, she's a doctor in physical therapy, so not exactly what I'm doing. I don't understand stuff that she talks about, but she told me that 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 it's now just high functioning autism, and that the Asperger's that tome is not used anymore. So, did you know anything about autism? And for the sake of the film, we'll still use the tome. But did you know anything about that? And
yeah,
and also, what did you learn about Asperger's and autism through filming?
I knew. So I didn't know much. I knew a tiny bit about Asperger's and autism. There was a movie I'd seen a few years earlier. It's called Adam. That character had Asperger's.
Yeah. Another guest who has Asperger's told me about that movie, Adam.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. And that was the first time I'd heard of Asperger's. Yeah. And it was maybe like 2009, 2010. And you know, I mean, I was hearing about autism all the time, but I wasn't that aware of it all. So, no, I would say that I was the world of autism and Asperger's was relatively unknown to me at the time, and that's part of what attracted me, because I still held the stereotype of autistics are not really going to be comedians, or not necessarily have the greatest sense of humor, which is what intrigued me about these guys. And then, once I started making the documentary, I started doing tons of research to make sure, I had a better understanding of autism and Asperger's, and I saw that, the DSM no longer used Asperger's as a diagnosis, and, they would now just call you, on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But I also knew that anybody who had been diagnosed with Asperger's wanted to hold on to that diagnosis, because to them it was, it meant a lot, and they didn't want to just be. A lot of them didn't want to just be known as on the spectrum. They wanted to be known as Asperger's, because that was part of their identity.
Yeah.
So I respected that for the the troupe, and there's varying viewpoints, but I'm not a scientist. So I'm trying to get caught up in it too much.
Yeah. I was diagnosed with learning disabilities and a severe language disorder. So kind of going along with what you just said, with that disability diagnosis of be it autism or LD or Asperger's or whatever, of it being ingrained with who you are back when you were first diagnosed. Today's guest on the Special Chronicles podcast show was speaking with Alex Lehmann, the director of the Aspergers Are Us documentary that you can watch now on iTunes or Amazon VOD. Alex, can you share with us some behind-the-scenes on stories while you were filming Aspergers Are Us? Any funny moments through the filming? Besides, like you told us when you first met them and you were going all over the city of Boston, but any other funny behind-the-scenes moments? There was one moment that I jotted down here when I watched the film. I believe New Michael tells us about how his family is most apt to leave him alone if they know that a camera crew is coming. And then I forgot who said the next line, but one of the other guys said, "Well, how many camera crews do you have coming into your house?" So
that was funny. But so speaking to that, New Michael's, everybody's family was really kind in letting me, film with them and in their homes and wherever. But filming in New Michael's house, one day, they have this one cat that you just do not want to let out of the house. And of course, where this story's going, as taking some equipment out of the house to go film outside, and that cat runs out and immediately like goes under their porch and is like hiding under the porch. And like the whole family is trying to get this cat out from under the porch, and I'm like trying to help as well. I'm like, I feel so bad. And I was just thinking like this wonderful family's invited me in their home, and what's going to happen to their cat? So everything was okay. They ended up getting that cat out. But that's about as crazy. Given how crazy film sets can get in documentaries, I would say this one was pretty tame.
So was it just like that first day when you first met them and you began filming right away? Were you the only one that was filming and directing, or did you have other camera crews with the audio and the lighting, and did you also have producers like our friend Chris also on set with you?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was all by myself out there, and there were a couple days where there was like a local Boston person helped me out, but almost every day it was just me with a camera and a microphone. That was most of it. And then the final show, I hired a couple people with cameras as well. But no, my producers, they came on board after I filmed the documentary. Basically, I showed them the footage, and they're like, "Oh, this is cool. We should, you have something for a movie here." And then I would show them edits, and they would give me feedback. But no sound guy or like crew or anything like that. I was roughing it.
Neat. So, as I was telling you before we got on air, and I'm doing that in quotes for our audio podcast. On air. Yeah, on air. But actually, with Google Hangouts on air, we are actually on air. Yeah. But I thought that it was a really funny film, and I enjoyed the intimate look into their lives, and it being informative but also kind of fun and funny look into the lives of full individuals who have autism or Asperger's. Can you share with us? I'm sure a lot of our listeners may have already seen this film, because you guys and I've also been giving people links to go watch the film. But
thank you, everybody who's already seen it.
Yeah. Sure.
Everybody who hasn't seen it, then I can't be your friend, unfortunately. Everybody who's seen it, I'm your best friend.
Yes, and well, then go see it, and then you can be out.
I love everybody. Yeah. I'm your friend. I'll be your friend whether I watch the film.
So can you share with us a little bit about who these four individuals are? We mentioned New Michael, but can you just really briefly about their names and just a little bit about what you learned about each of them, or maybe what they taught you?
Yeah, for sure. So there's four guys, and it's Noah, New Michael, Ethan, and Jack. New Michael, Ethan, and Jack were all 20 when I was making this documentary, and they all met at a performing arts camp for kids on the spectrum. And New Michael is the first one. We already mentioned him. He's got a cool name. His name is New Michael. Yeah. His dad is Old Michael. So he decided to start calling himself New Michael. There's more to that name and that story, but you'll have to watch the film. And then there's Jack, who in the film we quickly learn he's going off to Oxford for a year abroad of schooling. He's a very, very smart guy, and he's a very sweet guy. And as we get to meet his parents and get a little bit of a sense of what home life is like for him, and actually that part of the reason that it was going to be their farewell show is Jack was leaving for Oxford, and the guys didn't know what was going to be next. So this was they were just trying to get in this last show before Jack left for Oxford. And then Ethan is another member of the troupe, and he's just this really sweet, honest guy, really big heart. He was a little more shy than the other guys, but he catches you off guard with some really good humor as well. And he shares his perseveration of trains, which is very kind of him to do. And then you can kind of get a sense later in the film as to how that's been paying off. And then the fourth member is Noah, and now Noah's 30 in the film, so he's 10 years older than the other guys. And he also met them at the performing arts camp, but he was their counselor. So Noah wasn't diagnosed with Asperger's until he was, I think it was like 18 or 19, and he decided that it was very liberating for him, but he decided he wanted to meet other people like him. So, there's no camp for a 19-year-old, but he decided he could go teach at the camp. So he became a counselor at the camp for kids on the spectrum, the performing arts camp, and he just got along with these other three guys specifically, and said, like, you three, when you turn 18, we're going to start a troupe, a comedy troupe. And so by the time I was making the documentary, they'd been working together for 3 years.
Neat. So you tell them about what these four guys from the Aspergers Are Us comedy troupe, what they thought of when you first reached out to them on Facebook, what they thought of you making this documentary film on them, and then I'm sure before you premiered it and you've had screenings of it, and speaking even today, you're going to, I believe you said, a question and answer about this film. But can you share with us of what they thought of you making the film, and then what their hopes for the film are, and maybe even also what their feels for the film when you've talked to them kind of through the filmmaking, and then even now after now that the film is out there for people to go again download on iTunes or Amazon VOD.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was interesting. They were at first just a little hesitant. They wanted to make sure, first of all, I wasn't going to make fun of them, or just make a spectacle of their challenges, and just making it a piece about people overcoming adversity. They were willing to show me everything about their lives, but they certainly didn't want to be defined as disabled people. Yeah. Just trying to overcome their disability, and no matter what they do, it's all wonderful and shiny and happy. They wanted to be treated like a real comedy troupe, and so we made an agreement pretty early on that I was gonna, make the doc about them just like I would out of any other comedy troupe. And then when they wanted to talk to me about autism, we would talk about autism. And when they wanted to talk to me about comedy or their show, that's what we would talk about. Awesome. And so that's where we got with that. And then there were certainly days where they kind of wanted me to turn the camera off, or they were a little stressed, and I'd always push it a little bit, because as a filmmaker, you as a good documentarian, you don't always acquiesce. You want to sometimes just keep going, and they understood, and we always respected each other, and there was never an issue. Yeah. And then when I showed them the finished documentary, at first they were really unhappy with it, because I think most people who are sensitive, like anybody who's got sensitivities, which is all of us, we're going to feel very vulnerable when our life is exposed and our relationship to our parents exposed and all that stuff. So I think at first they were surprised, like, oh, there isn't as much of our sketches in here, and there isn't as much there isn't as much of like the final show in here, and they were worried. And I had explained to them, like, this is going to introduce people. This is still a human interest piece. Like, this is about your friendship and about your parent relationships and all these things. And we show some of your comedy, and the people that like this, they're going to want to see more of your comedy. They'll go to your Facebook page, or they're going to want to find out where you are on tour.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to get more fans. And once they understood that, they were really happy. And we've filmed some more stuff together. I can't that's as much of a teaser as I can give you. But we still work together. We're still making some more stuff together, and we trust each other a lot. And those guys have become friends of mine.
Awesome.
I love them.
Awesome. So again, today's guest on this Special Chronicles podcast show was speaking with Alex Lehmann, the director of the Aspergers Are Us documentary, which is available now on iTunes and Amazon VOD. I don't know how many times we'll plug in that, but
I love it. Keep plugging it. We're trying to get it out there.
Yeah. Until you guys go see it, we'll keep plugging that. Speaking of challenges, which is a big thing, special needs, disability, special attribute community is talking about challenges, and in the film we see some of the challenges that those with Asperger's or autism, this comedy troupe has. Can you share with us briefly some of the challenges that you had with directing and making this film?
Well, I mean, it was an insane schedule because I was just always, I would try to spend as much time with them as I could. So it would be, it wasn't always like all the guys together. So sometimes I'd be like starting out with, Ethan at 7 a.m. and then finishing up with Jack at, like midnight, trying to get all the footage I could. So it was just like that. It was, and because I was by myself, I kept forgetting to eat. And actually the troupe's parents would start reminding me, like, Alex, have you eaten anything today? Would you like a glass of juice? Would you? I'd be like, oh yeah, thank you. I just so get excited.
Yeah,
you just get caught up in everybody's life. So when you're passionate about what you do, you forget.
So they would feed you when you were.
They would offer to feed me. I didn't want to. I don't know. Maybe I'm too strict of a documentarian. I didn't want to, cross too many boundaries. But and I was busy filming.
That's happened to me when I've covered stories as a journalist. The same with you. Forget to eat or drink. When you're so caught up with what you're producing. Yeah,
for sure. So that was interesting. But I would say beyond that, I was there wasn't anything that's too challenging. In editing the documentary, there were some challenges in that there was all this good footage, like 400 hours of good footage, and I knew it was going to be an hour and a half movie, and I had to decide what was going to be in the movie, and because it's not a message-driven movie, I was never like, this is what the movie is going to be about, and it's going to teach people this, and like these are the points I'm trying to make. Because it was much more like a fly-on-the-wall documentary, I had to. There were a lot of versions I had to edit before I really found the one that was like it was good. That was really compelling, but at the same time was passive instead of like a really an active storytelling, which would have been me trying to spread a message.
So did you have one camera angle, since you said that you were doing everything, camera, sound, light, and everything? Did you just have one camera angle, or were you able to get a couple different camera shots?
Just one camera angle, except for the show. In the show, we had like 5 or 6 camera angles.
So
otherwise, it was one camera.
Neat. But that was pretty challenging too in a lot of scenes. And it was neat to also show shots of Boston and on the T. I went to Boston one time. I didn't get a chance to go on the T because I was mainly just in the city, and then the conference just took a shuttle there. But it was neat that you were able to kind of show some shots from Boston. And did you also shoot like up high for a lot of some of those overarching scenes of the city and the skyline?
Oh yeah, some of those shots. You know what? It was a friend of mine who lives in Boston, and I was editing. I was like, you know what? I need some skyline shots. Can you go out and film those for me? So that was like, that's probably like in 2015 or something when I was editing. And I think he was on I think he went to a parking lot rooftop or something. But, yeah.
So you share us briefly, just for the sake of time here. So some of the joys that you had directing the film, and then what's your goal that you hope viewers will gain when they watch this film, which they can watch now on iTunes or Amazon VOD. So some of the joys that you had from directing this film, and then what goal you hope viewers will really come away with when they watch Aspergers Are Us.
But one of my joys was watching the show and seeing them succeed. It was a good show, and they were really funny. And I'm supposed to be unbiased as a documentarian, but I also really wanted them to succeed, and I still do. I want them to have tons of success. So it's really nice seeing that. And then you have to remind me what the second part of the question is. I just
the goal of what goal you have to really come away.
Yeah, the takeaways. So I think there's two audiences for this film. There's the audience for like the autism community and like special needs community. And so for anybody there, I think they're gonna look at this film and find some inspiration and find some hope. And I think that's really great. But I also really hope that the takeaway for this film, I hope this film gets out to a much bigger audience, and people who, like myself, do not really know as much about Asperger's or autism, get to put 4 faces to it, 4 fresh faces to it, and learn about it through people instead of labels, and just really get to appreciate how great these guys are, so that the first thing they learn about autism isn't stereotypes or just an overarching definition.
Yeah. So, speaking of that reaction from the audience, I saw that you guys had premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival. Share with us briefly a response or two that really stood out from you when you spoke with viewers at this and other film festivals that were able to screen the film before you released it to the public?
Yeah, people came up to me and they loved it, and a lot of them didn't have a family member on the spectrum or anything. They just loved the film. They said it's funny, and the parent relationship, the father-son relationship, meant a lot to me, and their friendship meant a lot to me. So it was cool. It's cool to see that people were into it just for what the story was, a coming-of-age story.
So you mentioned at the end of the film, kind of where these 4 guys are all 18 months later, and you said that you're still in contact with them and can't talk that much, but are you able to give our listeners any tease of where they are now and any future, if there's a future film or maybe a TV show or something that's in the works? So
I'm gonna say this: they went on a big tour this summer. They did 18 different shows all across the country. We may or may not have had some cameras along with them for it. We'll talk more about that another time. Yeah. And the guys they're opening up for Emo Phillips in a few days in Massachusetts. He's one of their favorite performers, and he just hired them to be his opening act. They're doing a couple shows in New York City in January. So they're doing well. They're back together, and they're doing it bigger and better than ever.
Awesome. The title of the film, Aspergers Are Us, did you come up with that title because that's the title that they came up with for their comedy troupe, or do you even know?
It's their troupe, and it's just it's a good name. I tried a whole bunch of other movie title names, and every time I came back to Aspergers Are Us is better.
Awesome. Yeah. It really is a great title. So now the end of the program, we continue to get to those plugs, but now we actually get to those plugs. I'm sure, and we'll put links in the show notes on specialchronicles.com for this podcast. That will hopefully be out after Thanksgiving, probably the beginning of December is what I'm looking for that first week. Just because I have some other episodes that are in the works right now. But how can our listeners watch this film on iTunes and Amazon VOD, and or if there's other either digital or DVD platforms that are going to be coming? And
so it's iTunes and Amazon right now, okay. And then it'll be available on DVD by middle of December. You can order a DVD on Amazon, and it'll be on Netflix by middle of December. So there will be a lot of ways for you guys to see it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And we'll put those links on specialchronicles.com for our listeners, as well as on our Facebook page as well. And any social media plugs that you would like to share with our listeners for the film website, as well as for you as well.
Well, if you go to Facebook, you can follow the movie Aspergers Are Us. You can also follow the troupe Aspergers Are Us. So I say just put in Aspergers Are Us and follow anything that comes up.
Awesome. And I, at the end of the film, I believe I want to say it was Noah who said that at the end, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. He said if you met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. We're not all the same. And I've heard some of the guests that I've had on the show and other people with autism have said the same thing. Kind of going off of that, either off of that or just as well as any final thoughts about your overall time here today on the program?
No, I mean, I ended the movie with that because I think it's, such an important statement. If you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And I'll, sometimes I like to say, if you've met one person, you've met one person. Don't judge a person until you've met them. Don't ever, label them anything until you've gotten to know them as an individual. Regardless of how you want to, regardless of your prejudices, it's always nice to give each person a shot at defining themselves.
Awesome. Yeah, when I graduated from college about 4 years ago, one of my professors, I was interviewed on a local CBS station, and she said kind of something along the same line of what you just said about, but I think the quote that she used was, "Don't judge a book by its cover," to kind of going along with the same line of what you just said.
Sure.
So
I saw that quote. I've seen that quote before as well, but it was on the cover of a book. So
well, we can even relate that now to "Don't judge a film or comedy troupe by its cover." Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's. I guess we'll end with that. Awesome.
Thanks for having me on. This was so nice.
Yeah. Thank you again, Alex, for taking the time to come on the Special Chronicles podcast show.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great day.
And I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Alex Lehmann, director of the Aspergers Are Us documentary. Coming up next, we'll show how you can share your feedback right here on the Special Chronicles podcast show on specialchronicles.com, and a look at what is coming up next on the show. So stay tuned.
And don't go away. We're right back.
Imagine me a spark your imagination, park it at your center, lock it with your china. Imagine me a flame in your cathedral, the name of your secret, breathing in your air. I wouldn't steal what you China. Fire in your footsteps, fire on your lips, desire in your bones. Imagine me a spark to light your flame, the flame that lights your fire, the fire that keeps you I wouldn't steal what you take from me and put me in your pocket, in your take me in, put me in your pocket, in your hand. I'm the music and the feeling and the feeling in your head. I'm hopeful and empty, all the words you never Imagine me.
Listening to the Special Chronicles podcast, and here is your host.
This is the Special Chronicles podcast show right here on specialchronicles.com. So good to be back. Hope you guys enjoyed behind-the-scenes conversation with director Alex Lehmann of Aspergers Are Us documentary, and hope you will make plans to please go and check it out and watch it, because it is totally awesome. You will laugh. You will just find it awesomely funny, awesomely great. And as I said, it is available right now for you to watch or stream on iTunes, Amazon VOD, DVD, or Netflix. So that is all the platforms that you can watch it on, and we'll put links in the show notes on specialchronicles.com. That's specialchronicles.com for episode 203, where you can check out final information about the film and as well as how you can watch it. So go check it out. Brief look at what's coming up. Will be coming up. You will get to hear another installment of our viewer commentary of the ABC sitcom that everyone is talking about, Speechless. Will be it's available now for you to listen to is the sled hockey episode, but then also coming up this week we'll be taping and hopefully bringing to you the choir episode of Speechless, and then I believe the Speechless show is going on a holiday break, so we will be back whenever the next episode airs on ABC, on the ABC network. But also coming up, we'll be sitting down with our new friend Gigi from New Jersey, inspiring others with special attributes to have the opportunity to go to college. And we will be also sitting down with author Tyler McNamee, who wrote the book Population 1, Autism, Adversity, and the Will to Succeed. Discover disability changed into extraordinary ability. I believe that's the title. I've got it right behind me. So, but that'll be coming up as well. So stay tuned for that. And much. Disability is Diversity, a conversation with our friend Maria De Sabado, who has been a guest a few years ago on the show, but she returns. And that is actually brought to you by a video that I am in the process of producing for a disability training video from where I went to school 4 years ago, and it was about university in Chicago. So all that and much more is coming up on the show, as well as we've got some new articles written by our contributors on specialchronicles.com. That's specialchronicles.com. Just look in the news feed for those, as well as some new columns that I have written. And of course, archived columns and podcasts that you can listen to can all be found, as I said, on specialchronicles.com. So stay tuned for that and much more exciting content coming to you guys in the coming weeks and coming years ahead. If you want to follow us and share your feedback, you can follow us at Special Chronicles on Facebook, at Special Chronicles, or at Special C Podcast, at Special C Podcast on Instagram or Twitter. And you can follow me, what I'm doing off air, at Podmandan, at Podmandan, at Podmandan on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and especially some Instagram stories that I've been doing recently. So we'll follow those. If you want to share your feedback, you can email us anytime, day or night, at feedback@specialchronicles.com. That's feedback@specialchronicles.com. Or send your voicemail, just email us an audio file to that same email address, or at specialchronicles.com/voicemail, specialchronicles.com/voicemail. And we look forward to hearing your feedback. I look forward to talking with you guys next week for another exciting episode of the Special Chronicles podcast show right here on specialchronicles.com, and we'll talk to you next week. So until then, take care and God bless.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
And that's a wrap.
My name is Alex Lehmann, and I am from Aspergers Are Us, and I'm from Los Angeles. And
stop that. Whoa.
My name is Alex Lehmann, and I am from Aspergers Are Us, and I'm from Los Angeles. And you are listening to Special Chronicles podcast, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
This episode 203 is brought to you by listeners like, and I totally forgot to play that intro. Radio promo. I thought my audio clips not showing up in the soundbite app. It's messing me up.